Hey everybody, welcome to the channel. I'm Dane, your host. Hope you're having a great day wherever you may find yourselves. If you like live albums, well then this is the episode for you. Today I'm going to talk about my top 40 favorite live albums of all time, double or triple live albums, whether on vinyl or CD. So let's go ahead and jump right in. There's just something magical, captivating, and enticing about the live album, if you ask me. So coming in at number 40 is the double CD Swans Are Dead by the band Swans. And there's kind of a chess theme going on here because the first disc is called Black and the second one is called White. And while I'm not going to read every song here, I'm going to read quite a few. This is, of course, since it's a live album, it's essentially the greatest hits live. And it starts off with the wonderful Feel Happiness, which is almost 17 minutes long. Then Low Life Form, Not Alone, Blood on Your Hands. You also get great songs like I Am the Sun, which is one of my favorite, Blood Promise. And then on disc 2, you get Final Sack, The Sound, I See Them All Lined Up, which is great. Lavender is fabulous. Yum Yab, and Helpless Child. Helpless Child's almost 18 minutes. Is fabulous as well. So if you're not familiar with this particular live album from Swans, this, in my opinion, is their best. And they have a lot of them. All right, so that was 40. Coming in at number 39 is the double live album by Cirith Ungol called I'm Alive. And this is remarkable. If you're a Cirith Ungol fan and you don't have this, you want to get this. I had to get this from England. It starts off with an introduction, then you get the title track, I'm Alive. Join the Legion, Atom Smasher, Edge of a Knife, Blood and Iron, Black Machine, Frost and Fire, right? Their signature song. You get Chaos Descends, Doom Planet. Other songs are Master of the Pit, Cirith Ungol, the band name, right? This also has 2 DVDs, so this is quite. It's a four disc set, 2 CDs, and 2 DVDs, and like I said, you got to get this if you're a Cirith Ungol fan. All right. Coming in at number 38 is The Damned, Fiendish Shadows. And I'm not the biggest punk rock person, but The Damned are my favorite punk band of all time. And this was recorded in 1986. This was when they were in their prime, around the time of the Phantasmagoria album. And since this is just fabulous, I'm going to read all the songs. It starts with Curtain Call Part 1. That's their epic song. Shadow of Love. Neat, Neat, Neat from the first album. Wait for the Blackout. Grimly Fiendish. Stranger on the Town. Is It a Dream? There'll Come a Day. Smash It Up. I Had Too Much to Dream Last Night. Oh, so great. Looking at You. Gun Fury. Street of Dreams. Curtain Call Part 2. So it's kind of cool that they divided up in 2 parts. Lust for Life. Love Song. New Rose. Disco Man. And Born to Kill. This is just remarkable. It has the same font and aesthetic art-wise as the Phantasmagoria album. So you got the Raven and the Tombstone on the back. This is marvelous. You got the CD and you got some notes here. It's just great. Great, great album. If you like The Damned and you don't have this, you want to get this. Now, coming in at number 37 is Megadeth's That One Night live in Buenos Aires. And this is the Jet intro, then Blackmail the Universe, Set the World on Fire, Skin of My Teeth, Wake Up Dead. It ends with Peace Sells and Holy Wars. Those are the closing songs. Remarkable album. Has to make my list. And the title of the album, That One Night, implies how great of a feel and a vibe that this recording has. The band is just amazing here. So perhaps Megadeth in their prime. All right. I just got this. I had up until recently I only had this in MP3 format, and I had this on vinyl. It was in high school, one of my favorite live albums of all time. I had to get it on CD so I could listen to it in the car and other places. And I'm talking about Worldwide Live by the Scorpions. Of course, this is their live album from their 80s era. It doesn't have it doesn't have anything from their 70s, early 70s period. And you get the remarkable 6-string Sting, which is Matthias's guitar solo before they get into Can't Get Enough Part 2. So the album ends with Can't Get Enough Part 1, 6-string Sting, and then goes back to Can't Get Enough, which is the Part 2. So divide that up. It starts with Countdown, then you get Coming Home, Big City Nights is on here. Make It Real. Coast to Coast is the live version of Coast to Coast. I had to mention that song because I remember listening to that over and over on vinyl as a kid. This is just, I hate the album cover because it's that superimposed. But anyway, I like the back. This should have been the opening. I mean, the art cover for the front cover, excuse me. So fabulous live album coming in again at number 36. Now, cracking my top 35 is Black Sabbath's Live Evil, and while I don't have it in my hand, this is not the remix version. This is one of the remastered versions, not the most recent remastered version, but I didn't want to pull out the box set that I did a video on, but I'm counting Live Evil, the remix version, as number 35. Otherwise, this would not have made my top 40 at all, but that's how much the remix is worth having. So if you haven't gotten the box set yet, get it while you still can. I'm not sure how long that's going to stay in print. So 35, Live Evil, the remix version. Coming in at number 34, had to include some Southern rock, and that is Lynyrd Skynyrd's One More For / from the crossed out actually from the Road. This is the deluxe edition, but even without disc 2, originally on vinyl, this was still a double album for the first disc. And you have Traveling Man on here, which is 4 minutes and change. It's just fabulous. Give Me Back My Bullets, Tuesday's Gone. T for Texas is the closer. No, I take that back. T for Texas is not the closer. I'm sorry, I made a mistake. Disc 2 has parts of where the original vinyl ended. So Disc 2 picks up from where the original vinyl left off. You get Sweet Home Alabama, Crossroads, and then Freebird. So sorry about that. The concert ends with Freebird. Of course, it's going to end with Freebird. So sorry about that. And then 4 through 11 is the bonus material on here. All right, so that was number 34. Coming in at number 33 is Whitesnake's Live in the Heart of the City. And I have to include this for so many reasons, Whitesnake being one of my favorite bands. And you get Ain't No Love in the Heart of the City, which is that Bobby Blue Bland cover. It's kind of hard to say, right? This is amazing. If you're a Whitesnake fan, you more than likely have heard this. Fantastic. All right. So that was 33. Number 32, some Blue Oyster Cult, Extraterrestrial Live. I love the way this album opens. You get Eric Bloom having his fun with the crowd throughout the whole album. He does that, but especially on this album, having them sing along. You know, he says dominance, they say submission. It's a whole lot of fun. Great way to start the album. And then he does it again when you get to the 7th song, Roadhouse Blues. I used to have this on vinyl as a kid, and I just played this over and over and over again. And just his dialogue with the crowd, and he's playing Jim Morrison's part, right? And everyone's going along with it. It's so much fun. It's not as good, of course, as The Doors, but it's great still. And he's like, you know what I did? Had myself a beer. The crowd eats that up with a spoon. This is fabulous. And you have my favorite version of Black Blade on here, 6 minutes and change. You have Godzilla's great. Of course, it closes with their best song, Don't Fear the Reaper, which is almost 7 minutes. So, fantastic album cover, even better, an album. All right. Now, this next one should not surprise you. And so, Extraterrestrial Live was 32. Not just out on the cusp of my top 30, but it's 31, is the double version of Live at Leeds, the deluxe edition. Of course, you get all the songs, or actually you get more than the songs from I never understood why they released it originally as just a single A and B side on vinyl. Starts with Heaven and Hell, I Can't Explain, Fortune Teller, Tattoo. My favorite early Who song of all time, number 5, Young Man Blues. If Pete Townsend could play more in that heavy blues style, I would be even more. I'm not the biggest Who fan, and had he played in that style more often, I would be all on board with the Who. But it's just some of their stuff's not my cup of tea. I just love A Quick One While He's Away. Keith Moon's being so playful. Pete Townsend introduces a song. As you know, if you know this album very well, he said this song's about fornication, and Keith Moon says, "What's that, Pete?" It's so funny, right? You get Summertime Blues, Shaking All Over, My Generation is great, 15 minutes and change, Magic Bus. And then disc 2 is almost Tommy in its entirety, and that's why you want to get this. Live at Hull is this close to being as good as this, and that came out a couple years ago, I believe, or maybe a while back, and then they reissued it. I got it right before the pandemic. So once again, the Who Live at Leeds Deluxe Edition 2 CD set coming in at number 31. Now, number 30. It's not, well, let me show it first. This is the 2 CD version. I could not include this, even though it was a double vinyl record. If you take disc 2 off of here, disc 1 by itself was the double record when it first came out, but I would not include it if it wasn't for disc 2 on here, even though, again, as I said, disc 1 by itself originally was 2 vinyl records. You start with the Fabulous Statesboro Blues, and then if you talk about the 5th track, Stormy Monday, wow. One Way Out is fabulous. Perhaps the best song on here, maybe, I'm not sure. In Memory of Elizabeth Reed. You Don't Love Me, almost 20 minutes. Midnight Rider, great song. Disc 2 has Hot Lana. Then the 22-minute, almost 23-minute Whipping Post, which is fabulous. Mountain Jam, almost 34 minutes. And then Drunken Hearted Boy, almost 7 minutes. This is glorious. If you like the Allman Brothers, you want to get this 2-disc version. If you're curious and you're not, you don't know much about them, this is where I would begin. In the same way that many people begin exploring a new band or a new band to them, even if they're old, by looking at their live material first. This is where it's at. You have to get this if you're an Allman Brothers fan. This proves how Duane Allman was a genius. All right. Number 29. Live at the Odeon by Queen. This is them touring for A Night at the Opera. You get 19 great songs. It ends with God Save the Queen. The penultimate song, See What a Fool I've Been. You even get a live version of Seven Seas of Rye. Of course, you have Bohemian Rhapsody. And then it's reprised on, later on in the album. Brighton Rock, there's a guitar solo, Son and Daughter, you get a lot of early stuff, White Queen as it began. It begins with Now I'm Here from the 3rd album, and then it launches into Ogre Battle after that. You have Keep Yourself Alive, Liar, In the Lap of the Gods, great live version of that. Big Spender, Jailhouse Rock, kind of could do without that, but I just love this. This is fantastic. All right, now, that was 29. Coming in at number 28 is Aerosmith's Live Bootleg. Now, if you don't know this album, there's kind of a surprise in here. If you look at the track listing, it ends with Train Kept a Rolling, which is fabulous. And the song before that is Mother Popcorn. It's actually 2 songs. It's Mother Popcorn and then Draw the Line as 1 track. I'm not sure why they did that, but so it's misleading. It should have been included on the back, but it's not. So you do get Draw the Line as a song on here. That's one of my favorite Aerosmith songs of all time. I hate this album cover. I don't even know if this was really a bootleg that they made official, but either way, it doesn't sound like a bootleg to me. So anyway, Aerosmith Live Bootleg coming in, at number 28. Number 27, Jimi Hendrix, the 2 CD version of him live at Woodstock. It ends with Hey Joe. You got Villanova Junction. You got the glorious Isabella. Right, that's what makes this album in many ways. There are other parts about it. You have Jam Back at the House that closes disc 1. Message to Love, Hear My Train A-Comin'. This is Lover Man. This is fabulous. Great album cover too, from the man himself. Number 26, Live and Dangerous from Thin Lizzy. I don't care if it was touched up in the studio like many a live album. Doesn't matter. This is fabulous. I've said this before in a different video. I wish that it closes with the rocker. I wish they would have opened with the rocker and then closed with Jailbreak and then Emerald. I think that would have been a better, and I have this in my iTunes as a playlist, and I reverse that. I make rocker first and then Jailbreak and Emerald to close. I think it's stronger that way, but either way, great album. Love the album cover, Phil on the cover. All right. Now, so that was my that was 26 through 40. Now we're going into my top 25. And to start out, number 25 is Tokyo Tapes by the Scorpions. And of course, this is, unlike Worldwide Live, this is their greatest hits live of their 70s stuff. Starts with All Night Long, Pictured Life. You have a live version of, trying to find it, because it's not on any other album except as a bonus track. It's on, well, I'll get to that. Let's see. Suspend Your Love, the 7th track. So, and that's on the album cover where they're in the graveyard and the two kids have the toy guns. I can't think of that album off. It's eluding me, but it's on that only as a bonus track if you get the bonus track version. Taken by Force, that's what I'm thinking of. So if you can get the Taken by Force CD with the bonus tracks, it'll have the studio version of Suspend Your Love on there. It has We'll Burn the Sky. It has Fly to the Rainbow, an early track from their second album, the title track. It has Top of the Bill. It has Hound Dog and Long Tall Sally. So they kind of pull a Uriah Heep there, if you know what I mean. It's got Dark Lady. It's got some Japanese songs. It's got the Japanese national anthem and then another song. I forget which is which. You got Kojo no Suki, and then the other Japanese song is Kimi Go Yo. That's the Japanese national anthem. The other one is like a tribute to the Japanese people because that was the culture. You paid homage to the culture that you're visiting, and you sang a traditional tune for that particular culture. And you have Polar Nights on here, which is great. Backstage Queen, We'll Burn the Sky. This is just amazing. And there's also, I'm trying to find it, there's a song from their first album. Or is there? Sorry, fellas, ladies. Yes, the 8th track. Sorry about that. In Search of the Peace of Mind, the best song from Lonesome Crow is on here. So, and it says some bonus tracks: Hellcat, Catch Your Train, Kimi Go Yo, as I said, a different version of Polar Nights. He's a Woman, She's a Man, different version of that, and some others. So this is fabulous. And this got these great photos. There's a 2-disc, and then then you got this great photo, and then you got some others in here, the booklet and all that sort of thing. So great album. So that is number 25. Number 24, I have the box set here because I couldn't find my disc. This is Strangers in the Night, and this has 8 CDs, and it comes with the original LP, gatefold, with the original tracks, not the bonus tracks that were put out later on. I have that in MP3 format, and I love this album. However, I do have a problem with the original double vinyl and the CD as well. It deserves the praise that it gets, but I do have one issue, as I said, and that is the version of Rock Bottom. When I listen to this, most of the time I listen to a playlist I made where I take the version of Rock Bottom out here, which has the keyboards drowning out the guitar solo, and I put an earlier live recording of Rock Bottom instead, to make it, to give me that goosebumpy feeling. I don't get I don't understand how people praise the Rock Bottom on here. It's inferior to some of their other live stuff and to the studio version because, and they kept doing it, different live versions. You keep drowning out the guitar solo from Schenker with the keyboards. Don't do that. So anyway, I love this album. Had Rock Bottom, had you been able to hear the guitar solo in that song, this would have been much higher. It might have even been in my top 10. But anyway, I still got to give it praise that it's worth. So coming in at number 24. Number 23, King Crimson's Night Watch. The best lineup. Of course, Fripp, Bruford, Wetton, Cross. And Easy Money, Lament, Book of Saturday, Fracture, The Night Watch, an improv version of Starless and Bible Black, improv of Trio, Exiles, improv called The Fright Watch, The Talking Drum, Lark's Tongues and Aspic Part 2, and 21st Century Schizoid Man. The only thing missing from here would be Red. From Red, Starless, and Also, Lark's Tongue and Aspic Part 1, which I like better than Part 2. So also like the previous album I mentioned, not perfect, but I like it enough that it definitely makes my top 40 of all time. I didn't include the box set, The Great Deceiver, because it's a box set, and I didn't want to do that. But maybe one day rethinking, maybe I can, the first 2 discs replace this. I'm not sure. Anyway, this is fabulous, or close to fabulous. But it definitely makes my list, as you can tell. All right. Number 22 is Mott the Hooples Live. When this originally came out on vinyl, it was a joke because it was an A and B only, just one vinyl record. And so there's 2 discs here, but even disc 1 alone would be a double vinyl record if it was put on vinyl, because it has the whole concert, unlike the original vinyl pressing. So this is fabulous. Got to get this. All right. Number 21, some Deep Purple here. David Coverdale era, Long Beach, 1976. It was either this or Live in Paris. This is a little bit better, I think. You have an introduction, Burn, Lady Luck, Getting Tighter, Love Child, Smoke on the Water / Georgia on My Mind, Lazy, Homeward Strut, then CD2, this time around, Ode to G, a guitar solo from Tommy Bolin, Stormbringer, and Highway Star. So you have Burn and Stormbringer on here, which are my 2 favorite David Coverdale songs, and you get a Coverdale version of Highway Star. You get a couple bonus tracks here. I love this album. All right. Coming in at number 20, so now we're in my top 20, is Ian Hunter's The Truth, The Whole Truth, and Nothing But the Truth. The highlight of this is the song Michael Picasso, which is the third of the last song, and that, of course, is his tribute to Mick Ronson, who had passed away before this came out. And so it's very sad, it's very gut-wrenching and moving, but it's just fabulous, it's beautiful, it's so many things. This is his best live album. I love this album. I went on my way to spend quite a few bucks to get this. Anyway, it's that good. Coming in at number 19, another Deep Purple album. Gotta include Made in Japan. This used to be higher in my list years ago, but because you have only so many songs, you only have 10 songs, 2 CDs. That's a problem. Yeah, it's the full live experience, but and I like jam songs. I like them a lot. But had this been a triple CD with more material, I would have, like Live in Stockholm, I would have made this higher, and I would have kept it higher, but this is still great. So this is a must if you're a Deep Purple fan, and I think everyone knows that, but I'll say it anyway. So number 19, some people will be mad because I put this above Deep Purple, but this is partly nostalgic, and this is Kansas's Two for the Show. I got this on vinyl as a kid, still in grammar school, that kind of thing. It's the 70s. This came out after Point of No Return. Got the Two Old Women, looking at the program. There's some great photos in here. Well, it's a gatefold. This isn't very good, but when you get to this part, when you get to that, you get some great photos, and you can see the bass player down below with some serious tobacco chew in his mouth. Why do I like this so much? The production is fabulous. The band is on fire. And Rich Williams and Kerry Livgren have never been so heavy as they appear on here. That's what makes this so fabulous. And so it has to be number 18 on my list. All right. Coming in at number 17. Simply Called Live Album. That's right. Grand Funk. Great album cover. Introduction, Are You Ready? Paranoid, In Need, Heartbreaker, Fabulous, Words of Wisdom, Mean Mistreater, of course, that's glorious. Mark Says All Right, TNUC, Inside Looking Out, and Into the Sun. Those last 3 songs, what a great way to close an album. This is a great part in the recording where Mark Foreigner stops the crowd because he sees somebody doing something that's no good. And if you see somebody passing something along, don't take it. Don't take it, if you know what I'm talking about. Great album. Now, this didn't always make my list, and I've been working on this episode for a very long time. Anyway, but I have to include it after much, after much further, like a referee, right? After further review, right? After much further review, How the West Was Won, number 16, Led Zeppelin. This is a CD set. You got 14-second track called LA Drone. Just leave it LA Drone / immigrant song. Anyway, Heartbreaker, 7 minutes, almost 7.5 minutes. You have Over the Hills and Far Away on here. Since I've Been Loving You, 8 minutes and change. A 9.5 version of Stairway to Heaven. You have Going to California. That's not on, their original live album. The song remains the same. You get That's the Way, Bronny or Stomp. You get a almost 25.5 minute version of Dazed and Confused, which is fabulous. What Is and What Should Never Be, great live recording of that. Dancing Days, could do without that song, but it's okay. Moby Dick, almost 19.5 minutes. Whole Lotta Love, 23 minutes and 8 seconds. Rock and Roll the Ocean and Bring It On Home. There's no quarter on here, but that's okay. That's one of my favorite songs, but this is fabulous. All right. This should be no shock. Rocking the Fillmore, Humble Pie. Now, this was a double recording on vinyl when it first came out in the 70s. You only get 7 songs, but what song makes this list is I Don't Need No Doctor. Of course, the Ray Charles cover, but a heavy version, right? An extended version, 9 minutes and change. And I Walk on Gilded Splinters, which is, yikes, how long is this song? 23, almost 23 and a half minutes. Those are the two songs that really make this album. Yeah, it's missing buku hits, but you have songs they didn't do before that make this album. So it's glorious. Have to count it. Humble Pie Performance, Rockin' the Fillmore. All right. And that was number 15. Number 14. Rush, Different Stages. The third disc is a live disc, which eventually you get the whole concert from the Hammersmith Odeon on a re-release version, one of their studio albums. This is fantastic. You get Dreamline, Limelight, Driven, Bravado, Animate, Show Don't Tell. This is for the Test for Echo tour. You get The Trees, Nobody's Hero, Closer to the Heart, 2112 in its entirety. One of the best live versions of that. Not the best, but one of the best. You get a great live version of Test for Echo, Analog Kid, what a treat, right? Free Will, Roll the Bones, could do without that. Stick It Out, Resist, Leave That Thing Alone, The Rhythm Method, Natural Science, great having a live version of Natural Science. The Spirit of Radio, Tom Sawyer, and then YYZ to close out. This is glorious. All right. Let's see where I lost my place. Oh, number 13. Live at the Rainbow, 1974. This is a 2-disc set, but either way, both of these, if you put this on vinyl, this would be 4 vinyl. So I'm going with since there's 2 concerts on here, the one that I've chose, even though they're both great, is the Sheer Heart Attack Tour. So that would be disc 2. Live at the Rainbow, November 74. This says 24 songs. The other disc is only 17, which is Live at the Rainbow, March 74. This is November. This is just fabulous. You have Procession, Now I'm Here, Ogre Battle, Father of the Sun, White Queen, Flick of the Wrist, In the Lap of the Gods, Killer Queen, March of the Black Queen, Son and Daughter. I'm skipping some songs here. Keep Yourself Alive, 7 Seas of Rye, Stone Cold Crazy, Liar, Modern Times Rock and Roll, God Save the Queen. There's some other songs I didn't mention, but this is great. I like this better than Live at the Odeon. This is fabulous. And if you can watch the DVD of this, it's great too. Freddie Mercury steals the show with that one. All right. Lost my place again, everybody. Sorry. All right. That was number 13. So number 12, getting close to my top 10. Number 12 is Live in Santa Monica 72, David Bowie, which was a bootleg, and they made it an official bootleg. You have Introduction, Hang On to Yourself, Ziggy Stardust, Changes, The Superman, Life on Mars, 5 Years, Space Oddity, Andy Warhol, My Death, Width of a Circle, Queen Bitch, Moon Age Daydream, John I'm Only Dancing, Waiting for the Man. Those 2 songs would make this in my list. The Gene Genie, Suffragette City, and Rock and Roll Something. All right, can't say that word on YouTube. So this is fabulous. If you can still get this, it's a little mini box set. It's got some photos and stuff. This is great. All right. Now, number 11. Seconds Out. I hesitated because I was going to say something about the Peter Gabriel live album, which is only a single disc. It's like, oh, why did you not put that out as a double? I'm sure you got some live stuff. Even though this is not Peter Gabriel on vocals, Phil Collins just does an amazing job in stepping into the role. You get Squonk, The Carpet Crawl, Robbery, Assault and Battery, Afterglow, and Firth of Fifth. Those two back-to-back are great. I Know What I Like. The Lamb Lies Down on Broadway. Phil Collins does an amazing job. The Musical Box, the closing section, so it's not the whole song. Supper's Ready. Again, Phil Collins does an amazing job singing that. Cinema Show, great song. Dance in a Volcano and Los Endos are the two closing tracks. What a great way to end a concert. And Steve Hackett was on his way out. I just love this album cover too. That's part of the appeal of the album, but the music is just... Supper's Ready is the highlight of this album. You have to get this if you don't have it. Fabulous. All right, and this next one's, like all of these are nostalgic, but they're great as well. It's not just the nostalgia, but my mom wouldn't let me buy this when I was a kid because of the album cover. It's really not that bad. It's just jelly in his mouth. You know what I'm talking about. Speak of the Devil, or as they say in England, it's the name of the album is called Talk of the Devil, because that's the phrase that they use. And then if you slide out, I hated these retro album covers where they made the album cover smaller. You just open it up, it's bigger. There you go. There's Ozzy with his blonde hair, with his jelly in his mouth, right? And I know Ozzy disowned this album. I don't know if he still feels that way, but I love Brett Gillis and Rudy Sarzo and Tommy Aldridge as his band. Too bad he couldn't make them stay a little longer. Anyway, it's not Black Sabbath, but it's all Black Sabbath songs. It's that good. So, need I say more? Speak of the Devil. You can get this on vinyl in both the English version and American. All right. Now, this next, so that was number 10. Speak of the Devil was number 10. Seconds Out was on the cusp of my top 10 from Genesis. Now, if you recall, USA Network used to show this concert all the time, late night, on a show they had late night called Night Flight. And that's Yes's Yes songs. The production, people have complained, is not that good, but it's still a great album. I love the opening of excerpt from Firebird Suite. What a great way to introduce Siberian Khatru, Heart of the Sunrise, Perpetual Change, and You and I, Court of Life, The Preacher, The Teacher, The Apocalypse, Mood for a Day, excerpts from Six Wives of Henry VIII, so you get some solo work from Wakeman on here, which is great. I love when they do that roundabout. Then disc 2, I've Seen All Good People, Long Distance Runaround, The Fish, Close to the Edge, in its entirety, Yours Is No Disgrace, Starship Trooper, and that's it. This was a triple album, so I have 2 triple albums on here so far. All right, so that was number 9, Yes Songs by Yes. Now, number 8, Pink Floyd. This is The Wall in its entirety. It's called Is There Anybody Out There? There we go. And this has tracks in it that you cannot find on The Wall on the studio version. And the reason you have bonus tracks is because, so the story goes, and this is just fabulous, by the way, doing the whole concept album live and nothing else. I don't know if they did any other songs for this show, but it doesn't matter. This is great. People who, if you like The Wall, what I'm trying to say is if you like The Wall, there's no reason you wouldn't like this. It's that good is what I'm trying to say. Sorry, so I had this upside down with their faces, right? And you got some great stuff in here besides the music, some artwork and that sort of thing in liner notes. But back to the extra tracks here, there are segues between songs so that the stage crew can insert or take out bricks. That's part of the plot of the story, so that's why they added. And it works great. It's fab. It's too bad it's not part of the studio because I like those extra tracks. So this comes in at number 8. Is There Anybody Out Here by Pink Floyd? All right. Coming in at number 7. This is the 50th anniversary version and it has 2. Would this still be in my list? It would, in the same spot. But you have 2 bonus tracks with Jeff Beck. This has a Blu-ray in it too, but you have the Ziggy Stardust and the Spiders from Mars Anniversary Edition concert footage and double CD. And great, just as fabulous. The 2 Jeff Beck songs are the Gene. It's a medley. The Gene Genie, Love Me Do, then the Gene Genie pickup reprise, right, featuring Jeff Beck, and then Round and Round featuring Jeff Beck. and then you get the farewell speech, and then rock and roll, fill in the blank to end the. But great, greatest hits, right? Moon Age, Daydream, Changes, Space Oddity, My Death, Wild Eye Boy from Free Cloud, Watch That Man, Ziggy Stardust, Hang On to Yourself. You get The Width of a Circle, which is an extended version, and Bowie's off stage changing his costume, and Trevor Bolder and Mick Ronson are the highlight of that piece. It's like they're trading licks, bass versus guitar. It's fabulous. You got to get this. All right. So that was number 7. Now we're getting close to my top 5. So on the cusp of my top 5, number 6 is All the World's a Stage by Rush. Bastille Day, Anthem, Fly By Night, / In the Mood, Something for Nothing, Lakeside Park, 2112, but not in its entirety. You get Overture, Temples of Syrinx, Presentation, Soliloquy, and Grand Finale. Still great. Then you get fabulous version of By Tor and the Snow Dog. I've said this before on this channel. This is phenomenal. You get this atmospheric soundscapes of to give you, these. It's meant to pull at your emotions. You feel for the Snow Dog as he's descending or meeting By Tor at the edge of hell, or where the underworld meets the earth, right? The overworld, as it's called by the band in the lyrics, right? And you get Alex Lifeson pulling a Jimmy Page and pulling, a bow across the guitar strings, and the soundscapes in the background. Oh man, it's chilling. I'm getting chills as I talk about it. Then you get a great live version of In the End. Then Working Man / Finding My Way. It's so heavy. The two songs combined almost 15 minutes. I'm going to listen to this tonight now that I'm talking about it. And then What You're Doing, one of their heavy songs to close out the album. This is just fantastic. So number 6, All the World's a Stage. Number 5, Iron Maiden, Live After Death. And you get the great intro, Churchill's speech, We'll Never Surrender, and then launches into Aces High, 2 Minutes to Midnight. The Trooper, next comes one of my favorite songs of all time, Revelations and Flight of Icarus. Those two back-to-back are fabulous. The live version, Rhyme of the Ancient Mariner. I love it more than the studio track. Power Slave, The Number of the Beast. Hallowed Be Thy Name. Oh, so great. Iron Maiden, Run to the Hills, and then Running Free. CD2, Bruce does a Paul Di'Anno song, Wrathchild. Then 22 Acacia Avenue, Children of the Damned. Then Die With Your Boots On, and then he does Phantom of the Opera. So now, why they did not put this out as a triple album or triple CD, I don't know, because if you do your research, there are 3 songs that were part of this tour. And at one point you could get the third disc. Somehow I only got it in MP3 format. One of the songs is Murders in the Rue Morgue, and I think Sanctuary, and I can't remember the third song. I have those, I have this and those 3 songs that I'll listen to get the full show. But this is still fabulous. This has been remastered. This is not the newest remastered version, but I don't need it. I had this on vinyl because my sister worked in a record store called the Record Bar in New Orleans East, and she came home with the promo copy for me, and she's like, here. She's not a fan, but she knew I was. I'm 16 or 17, so nostalgic, but still great. It's one of the greatest live albums of all time. Obviously, it's making my top 5. All right. Now, people have argued this next one has some production problems. They cleaned it up a bit. I love this. This is Past Lives by Black Sabbath. I like the 2 live recordings, the 2 disc set that you get with the Sabotage box set, but this is better tracks. Tomorrow's Dream, Sweet Leaf, Killing Yourself to Live, Cornucopia, Snowblind, Children of the Grave. Wow, what a bunch of great tracks back to back. War Pigs, Wicked World, Paranoid, Hand of Doom, Hole in the Sky, Symptom of the Universe. Oh man, great. Megalomania, so some 3 songs from Sabotage back to back to back. Iron Man, Black Sabbath, NIB, Behind the Wall of Sleep, closes out with Fairies Wear Boots. Fabulous. Black Sabbath, Past Lives. And you get these great photos of Ozzy and Tony, and then Geza, right? And then Bill. All right. Got to get this. Now, that was number 4. Number 3, something we always talked about in high school. A band we always talked about in high school. When we talked about the live CD, we talked about the movie I'm talking about Led Zeppelin's The Song Remains the Same. This is the 2007 release. This is the one with the bonus tracks. You got some great photos here. And you get a booklet. Yeah, there's a booklet in here. Now, when Jimmy Page started remastering the catalog for the third or whatever time, so there's the original, there's this 2007, and then there's the 2017, and they changed some things again, and they tampered with no quarter. Now, I recently bought the original 2-disc version because I lost it to Hurricane Ida when my ceiling collapsed. I lost a bunch of my CDs, and so I wanted to get the original because the original, some of the songs are longer than the ones that are on here. So I wanted the extended versions as they were originally. So I made a playlist with this album, but I took the songs that are shortened on this one and put the originals that are longer. So I made a hybrid of the two albums so I can get all the long versions of all the songs, if that makes sense. And this is worth having because you get songs that aren't on the original. So number 3, The Song Remains the Same by Led Zeppelin. That's all we talked about in high school. Now this next one used to be my favorite live album since I first heard it. Always was up until recently, but something came out that made that change. And this next album that I'm about to show you, number 2, is what really got me into music. It's this 70s live album, and I'm talking about Kiss Alive. So this used to be my favorite of all time. What on earth could have trumped this? Well, let's talk about the tracks first. Do, Strutter, Got to Choose, Hotter Than Hell, Firehouse, Nothing to Lose, Come On and Love Me, Parasite, She, Watching You, 100,000 Years, Black Diamond, Rock Bottom. Those two back-to-back are great. Cold Gin, Rock and Roll All Night, guitar solo version, right? Let Me Go Rock and Roll. I wish they would switch those two, but that's okay. Should have ended with Rock and Roll All Night, but that's okay. My mom got this for me on vinyl when I was in grammar school, 3rd grade, so I'm 9. Because my friends that's all they talked about. So I was like, ears pricking up like a meerkat, started questioning my friends. Hey, I went in, what's going on? So they started telling me, oh, you got to get your mom to buy this. You know, I'm 9 years old, I'm not going to buy this, right? So my mom got it for me either for Christmas or my birthday. And ever since this album came out, with the exception of Rock and Roll Over, which my grandfather bought for me, took us to the mall to buy that for me, every other Kiss album my mom would have waiting for me the day it came out on my pillow when I came home from school. How beautiful is that? How loving is that? Anyway, so this used to be my favorite live album of all time, but it's still number 2. So what on earth could my favorite live album be? Well, I'm going to show you. Of course I'm going to show you. Live in YYZ. This is the 3-disc version of Moving Pictures. You get Moving Pictures, and then you get Live in YYZ from 1981. So, this replaces Kiss Alive. Kiss Alive is now number 2. This is number 1. Before this came out, Kiss Alive was number 1, and Exit Stage Left was number 2. Okay? Now, the problem with Exit Stage Left is that it's not the full concert. You have 13 songs. They're great 13 songs. This is fabulous. But before this came out with the concert, the Moving Pictures or Exit Stage Left tour in its entirety, you had the bootleg, Rush, Anaheim, California, the definitive edition. The production on here is not terrible, but it's not amazing either. This is the full set. The same songs you get on here, but the production is better, and it's a different show, but the same songs. So, you get 2112 Overture, The Temples of Syrinx, Free Will, Limelight, Cygnus X1, Book 2, Hemispheres, Prelude, Beneath, Between, and Behind, The Camera Eye, YYZ, Brune's Bane, The Trees, Xanadu, The Spirit of Radio, Red Barchetta, Closer to the Heart, Tom Sawyer, Vital Signs, Natural Science, and then you get the medley, Working Man, Cygnus X1, Book 2, Hemispheres, Armageddon, The Battle of Heart and Mind, Viator and the Snow Dog, In the End, In the Mood, 2112 Grand Finale. All of that makes up one giant medley. And then it ends with La Via Strangiato. If you get this on vinyl, I have this on vinyl too. It's four vinyl records, maybe more. I forget, but La Via Strangetto makes all of the last side by itself. And so this replaces, this is better than this because it has the full set. Now, this still has a better, superior version of La Via Strangetto, but this is like splitting hairs, almost that good as this one. This will always be my favorite version of La Via Strangetto. This is super close. So I had to bump this up to number 1 because it still has a rockin' version of La Via Strangetto, and it has the entire set that at one time you could only get on this. Okay? This is remarkable. It's that good. If you're a Rush fan, you must get the 3-disc set of Moving Pictures that has Live in YYZ or YYZ 1981. And it tells you inside where it was recorded. And it has a booklet. You have these great photos. You have this gatefold, right? And then it opens again. There's that classic photo from Moving Pictures that I just love. Wish I could find a giant poster of that. And then you get Getty and Neil as well. Oops, go this way, Dane. All right, so there you have it, everybody. These are my top 40 favorite live albums of all time. Please post in the comment section what you agree with, what you disagree with. I'd love to hear from you. If you want to put your own 40 or 30 or 20, 25, 10, 15, does it 5 even? I'd love to hear what your thoughts are. Tell me what you think, folks. And don't forget to click the notification button to be apprised of all upcoming videos. And click the subscribe button and like button, please, to help this young channel grow. Thank you so much for watching. Take care. Have a blessed day. Bye now.